Okay, so in this section of algebra, we are going to learn how to solve linear equation. When we say solve linear equation, so the meaning of solve means you find the value of the unknown or the algebra. So most of the time, you will be, the algebra is x. So you end up with x equal to a value. And it's always 1x. Okay, so when you want to solve an equation, you want to find the value of the algebra. Okay, so that's the meaning of solve. Okay, so the different word means different instruction. So for example, like factorize. Factorize means you got to introduce back the bracket. Expand the algebra means you got to get rid of the bracket. So different words have different meaning. So when we solve, we want to find the value of the unknown, which is 1x. And I have mentioned that the method, a lot of things, right, have a fixed method. So in solving, we also got fixed method. So in a way, you want to isolate your x. Okay, so the aim, so you think about the aim. The aim is to isolate the x, 1x. That is your aim. And the method, so generally, right, the method will be you add something on both sides. On both sides of the equation. Or you can minus something on both sides of the equation. Or you can multiply or divide something on both sides of the equation. So when we say both sides means whatever you do on the left side, you must be fair and do it on the right side. So that is the logic. That's the logic and that's the method that we're going to be solving. We'll be using to solve for x, meaning to isolate the x. Okay, so there are very simple one, also very difficult one as well. Okay, so like for the first one here, this is my aim. My aim is to isolate this. Okay, so first of all, you must understand that, well, equal sign, right? In math, right, the equal sign kind of divide into two parts. So this is the left-hand side. And then this is the right-hand side. So left and right are decided based on the equal sign. We will usually like our x to be on the left. Okay, so when we say we want to isolate, so for example, in this question, x minus 6 is equal to 5. We want to isolate the x. How am I going to isolate the x? I am going to plus 6 on both sides. I'm going to do a plus 6 on both sides. Because when I do a plus 6, this part becomes a 0. So I got x equal to 11. So you add something on both sides. You decide, you add something on both sides, or you can minus something on both sides. Okay. In the next one, you would like to isolate your x. So how can I isolate your x? I want to get rid of the 3. So I'm going to minus 3 on both sides. So I'm going to minus 3 on both sides. This part becomes a 0. So I end up with a 8 minus 3 equal to a 5. Okay. So basically you keep adding or keep subtracting. Okay, or you keep multiplying on both sides or you keep dividing on both sides. Okay, so in this one, right, there are two methods for part C. I shall show you the two methods. Okay, then you decide which method you want. So this one, if I want to isolate my x, I can multiply by 5 on both sides. I multiply by 5 on both sides because I can cancel. Then I got a 30. Okay, so if you multiply by 5, you got 30. Okay, in fact, there are 3 methods. So I show you. So this one is method 1. Okay, then I show you. Another one will be, right, you look at it as This one is like 1x. So essentially, this is 1/5 x equal to 6. So you can choose to divide by 1/5. So you can choose to divide by 1/5. Okay, let me write properly. So you can take the whole thing, divide by 1/5. You divide 1/5 on both sides. So 1/5x divide by 1/5. You will cancel the 1/5. So you got 6 divided by 1/5. You go and punch calculator. It will also give you a 30. So another method is to divide by 1/5. So one method is to times 5 on both sides. The other method is to multiply 5 on both sides. Okay, another method here, which is the cross multiply method. Okay, so maybe I don't show you the cross multiply method first. Later on, there will be a cross multiply method. Okay, so for part C, you got these two methods. You can choose to multiply 5 on both sides, or you can divide 1/5 on both sides. It's your choice. You will still get the same answer. In part D, you got 4x equal to 10. So 4x is equal to 10. Okay, remember your objective is to find 1x. So you must get rid of the 4. So how do you get rid of the 4? 4 times x. So you got get rid by dividing by 4 on both sides. So I'm going to do a divide by 4 on both sides. So 4x divided by 4, that will just give me a x. 10 divided by 4 will actually give me a 2.5. Okay. Then the next one is a minus 6x equal to 12. So remember your objective is to get 1x, but this one is minus 6x. So you divide minus 6. So you get a x, 12 divided by minus 6. That will give you a minus 2. So the methods is all about adding something on one side, subtracting something on one side, multiply and divide something on both sides. So, sorry, I mentioned wrongly. It's about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing something on both sides. Okay, so that will be the basic method. Okay, but when it comes to a bit more complex, then what happened? Like this one. Okay, what happened? Okay, so remember, you will like 1x, but here you got 2x, right? Your objective is to get 1x, but here you got 2x. Okay, and some of the 2x, right, still comes with a minus 3. So I'm going to get rid of the minus 3 first by doing a plus 3. So you get rid of the numbers first. So this part gone, and this part gave me a 10. Then I divide both sides by 2. Because my objective, remember, is to get 1x. So 10 divided by 2 will give me a 5. That's it. Okay, and until now, I never show you the checking. So I can do some checking. So if my x is a 5, I'm going to check this part. I'm going to check 2 times 5 minus 3. Does that give me a 7? It gave me a 7. So you can always do checking. Okay, in the next one, some people, when they see fraction, when they see decimal, they start to get confused. Then they will start, how do I do? So the method doesn't change. So you need to be adding something on both sides or subtracting something on both sides. Your aim is to isolate the x. So I'm going to isolate my x by subtracting 5 on both sides. Because 5 minus 5 will disappear. So I'm going to subtract a minus 5 on both sides. Then after that, my aim is to get 1x. But here I got a minus half x. So simply, I'm just going to divide by minus half. So 8 divided by a minus half. You can punch calculator. You will get a minus 16. Okay, so there's no big deal if you got fraction or that. The method doesn't change. You got to bear in mind that. So the method doesn't change. So the next one got a bit of decimal. But I still wanted my 1x. So I still want my 1x. So I'm going to remove the 7 first. I'm going to minus 7 on both sides. So this part will disappear. 7 minus 7 is a 0. So it will disappear. And keep remembering you want your 1x. So I'm going to divide by 0.2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.2. So if you bear in mind what you want, you just look at the question and just divide and do accordingly. So the strategy doesn't change. Later on, there will be some difficult question, but the strategy still will be the same. Add something on both sides, subtract something on both sides, divide something on both sides, multiply something on both sides. Okay, so that will be the generic method for the solving. Okay, so take note of the generic method.